Kitty, you're not the star.
Here.
Hi guys, here we are again. Welcome to my office. So we're gonna do another story time while I do my makeup with the makeup that I got when I was at VidCon. I didn't get a lot of makeup, but I did get this little palette from Too Faced. So I'm just gonna do my makeup. As we talk about the pregnancy from hell. That was Joseph's. So I already exfoliated my face, and this is the product that I use. It is a face polish, and then I go along with the same toner, and it literally leaves my face looking like freaking polished. That shit, look, it's like you can see your reflection on my face. Anyways, I'm gonna begin by priming our face with a little bit of pelos Fenty. All right, so here we go. As you guys know, Josiah and Joseph have a big age gap. Josiah's 16 and Joseph is gonna be 3 tomorrow. So Josiah was 13 when I had Joseph. I was with my husband for like about 7 years before I actually came out pregnant. And when I came out pregnant, I didn't even know I was pregnant, because we were trying for the longest time and it wasn't happening. So we kind of like gave up, and I wasn't like really trying. I was just living my best life, very unhealthy living. I was drinking, and I would drink a lot of Monsters, actually, as a matter of fact. Thank you for asking. My periods are really, they're not in regular periods. I always get my periods when I'm supposed to. I bet you guys can hear my earrings through the mic. Take them off. I would get super bloated, my boobs would hurt, I would get crazy ass cravings, and when I would start my period, it would be like one day, you know, like my period was only here for one day. So I thought I had like some type of like hormonal issues, and I literally called a clinic, and I'm like, hi, I want to make an appointment to check my hormones. I know I'm not pregnant. I just need to check I haven't started my period, but I need to check my hormones. She was like, okay, you know, we'll schedule you an appointment. My husband's like, you should take a pregnancy. He's like, I know you're not pregnant, but you should take a pregnancy test. And I was like, I don't want to, because I had taken so many pregnancy tests that I'm literally traumatized to take a pregnancy test. Like, even though I know I'm not pregnant, taking a pregnancy test traumatizes me. Like, I think like, it's just like a bad experience it was a bad experience for me when I was trying to come out pregnant and I couldn't. So my sister kept harassing me and telling me that I had to take a pregnancy test, and these people don't know, because I keep a lot of like my traumas like inside of me. So I wouldn't tell them like, no, I don't like to take pregnancy tests, because they're like, they make me really sad. And I already knew, like, come on, like I was trying to come out pregnant for 7 years. I wasn't trying to come out pregnant then. I was super unhealthy. Like, what would be the odds, you know? She was like, I'm driving to your house so you can take this pregnancy test. And I didn't want her to come to my house because I didn't want to take the pregnancy test. So I was like, all right. I broke the mirror. Oh, yeah, my husband's going to kill me because this is his mirror. So just to get her off my back, I was like, fine, I'll take it tomorrow. As I'm peeing on the pregnancy test, I'm just like, oh, wow, I'm not even pregnant. Look at me peeing on a stupid pregnancy test. Literally put the test on the side of the sink like that, and then it falls. As I'm putting it, like, it falls, and I grab it and I pick it up, and as I picked it up, like, there was 2 bright ass freaking lines there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it was my husband's and I 7 wedding anniversary. It was our wedding anniversary. I don't remember what year, but it was our wedding anniversary. So I was like, oh my gosh, that is like the perfect present. I always pictured myself finding out and I was gonna be like, you know, crying all happy, but I wasn't. Like, I was freaking out, like, what the fuck? You know, like, how? Like, how the hell does this even happen? We all know how. Remember how I had called the clinic to tell them that I wanted to do like some type of hormone therapy because like my period was not coming. So I freaking called and I was like, hey, remember how I called you earlier and asked for an appointment for hormones? Well, change that. I am pregnant. And I'm freaking out because I only have 1 fallopian tube. I'm bleeding, and I want to know if everything's okay. Oh, and I was cramping too. Like, I was cramping as if I was gonna like start my period. So they scheduled me an appointment the next day, and I had to poop because I was so nervous. And I was telling my husband, like, I have to poop, I have to poop. And he was like, no, don't poop. He's like, because they're gonna go down there. What if you leave like toilet paper or something? And I was like, I don't care, I have to poop. She like puts it in there. I can see like something fluttering, and she was like, what do you want? She's like, oh, and there's a heartbeat, and it's a strong heartbeat. She's like, you look like you're about 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, but yeah, I was so excited, and she's like, congratulations. And I was like, but I'm bleeding, like, is this normal? And she was like, oh, you should stop bleeding in a bit. And I was like, okay. So I left. The next day I'm bleeding more. The next day I'm bleeding even more. I think I was like 9 weeks pregnant, and I go on my couch, I sit down, and when I sit down I feel like a come out of me. And I was like, I was spotting, you know, like spotting, but it wasn't like just like a spotting. It was like a red spotting, like a, this is not normal spotting. I felt that gush come out of me. I immediately got up, went to the restroom, and I was like bleeding. It was like running down my legs. It was a lot, and I was like, shit, you know, I'm having a miscarriage. My husband was here from work. As soon as that happened, I like come out of the restroom, and I was like, we need to go to the hospital right now. And he was like, why, what's happening? And I just showed him, and he was like, damn it. We didn't talk to each other at all the whole time, because I was like so freaking devastated, because I was like, you know, this is like so heartbreaking to me. You know, I tried really hard for 7 years. It finally happened. It's not a topic pregnancy, it's an actual pregnancy, and now I'm miscarrying this baby, because there was no way that was not a miscarriage, because it was so much blood. Like I don't even period like that. Like my menstrual cycles don't even come that heavy as I was bleeding that day. Went to the restroom because I was hoping, you know, that I can catch whatever fell out. So much blood. Broke my heart and everything, and I was like, baby's gone. I start walking like, you know, like super slow, because every movement that I was giving, it was like a of blood. Like there's somebody coming in, and they were like, move lady, she is bleeding. Like she was like walking, like they were like putting her like in a wheelchair, and they were like, move lady, she is bleeding. And I was like, I'm bleeding too. Took me in, they did the ultrasound. The lady was super rude. She was like, who told you were pregnant? And I was like, I took a pregnancy test, I came back positive, and I went to the clinic and they confirmed it. She's like, I was like, why do you not see a pregnancy? And she was like, I can't tell you, the doctor's gonna tell you. And I'm like, well, I was like, well, can you tell me if you see something? She was like, I can't tell you, the doctor's gonna tell you. And she's just like moving around, being super silent and quiet. And then she's like asking me all these questions, and I'm answering them. And then I would ask her questions, and she didn't want to answer them. And then I was like, okay, you know, like she's confused because she can't see no baby. And then she like sits me down, and she's like, okay, so this is what's going on. And I'm like, she's like, baby has a very strong heartbeat. He's there in the uterus. Your cervix is closed. We have no idea why the hell you're bleeding. We're more worried about you hemorrhaging to death than the baby. Like if your body's gonna reject the baby, it's gonna reject it, no matter what you do, no matter how many what gods you pray to. Like it's your body's gonna reject it. It's gonna reject it. So we need you in bed rest for 3 weeks. You can't do anything, because this is on your health now. It's like not even, we're not worried about the baby, we're worried about you. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Like 3 weeks, I can do that shit, you know? So I told my husband was there with me, and he was like, oh, okay, we can both breathe. Stopped bleeding until I was 15 to 16 weeks pregnant. Okay. Then the doctor was like, okay, like you're fine. Now you can see you every 2 weeks. So I go on my second week to go over there, and they do like the anatomy test to see if the baby has Down syndrome or spina bifida or the something 13. Doctor was like, you shouldn't worry about it. You know, it doesn't run in your family. You should be fine or whatever. If there's bad news, you'll hear from us in 2 weeks. If not, whenever you come back during your 4th week, I think, like, I don't remember, during the 4th week for your appointment, we'll give you the results. And I was like, okay, cool. 3 days later, I get a phone call from the clinic telling me that I need to go back because the doctor wants to talk to me. So I already knew something was wrong with my test. A couple of days after they told me the news, they told me to go in, so like 3 days, maybe 4, I'm not sure. I go, and the doctor tells me that the baby came back positive for Down syndrome. So I was devastated, you know, because I my husband's family has a lot of kids. Like they have, there's, I think Joseph is grandkid number like 9 or 10. I'm not sure, probably 50, I don't know. There's a lot of them. I can't even keep count. So I was worried that if my baby, there was something wrong with the baby, that, you know, like the kids would probably make fun of him and he would probably feel left out and stuff, you know? So I was like sad, really sad. I really wanted to cry so bad. My husband's like, you're fine, everything's gonna be okay. And that's not true, it cannot be true. And I was like, you know, devastated. I got severe anxiety during my pregnancy. I mean, why wouldn't I? I mean, like, I was in fear of fight or flight mode through the whole thing. Whenever my husband would go to work, I would legit cry, like cry like a I don't know, like really, really cry, because I would hold it when he was here to be strong for him. Look at my tongue. And I didn't want to cry in front of Josiah or anything, but I just didn't want to be alone because a lot of thoughts would come to my head. I go to my specialist appointment, and as I am there, like they're going through the ultrasound and everything, she's like, okay, looks good. And I'm like, do I ask questions? Do I not? Because, you know, like the last time I asked questions at the hospital, they were so rude. And she finished her ultrasound and she was like, everything looks good. And my husband's like, wait, what? And then she's like, why are you guys here? And I was like, well, our test came back positive for Down syndrome. She's like, I don't see that. And then like she goes back and she's like, she measured, I guess like they measured the thickness of the skin of the back of the neck, and it was measuring fine. The heart had, like, usually whenever someone is positive for Down syndrome, they have like a heart, like holes or something in their heart. Baby didn't have it. His kidneys were fine. They measure the pinkies. I broke my nail. They measure the pinkies, and usually like the pinkies a little shorter. His pinkies were fine. Size of the head was fine. They only needed to measure, to look at the nose to confirm like all the signs, everything was fine. So the nose, I think they're missing the nose bone. So they really wanted to look at the baby's nose, and they couldn't because the baby was like flipped like this. So we tried to flip them, you know, and stuff, so we can see the baby's nose. And then like when she finally was able to see the face, she's like, oh, there's the baby's nose. And we're like, oh my God, like I could like breathe now. Like I was so happy. Like I literally like wanted to get on my knees at that moment and just be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like it was like the first time ever that I could breathe. And I want to say at this point I was like 5 months pregnant. I'm not sure. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think I was going to be 5 months pregnant. I think I was like 20 weeks. I don't know how long we are pregnant at that time. Anyways, they did have to see me for every 6 weeks because I came back again with a hormone or a protein called inhibin, like my inhibin protein or something like that. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. It was too high, and that indicates, it's a hormone that indicates baby is not growing the way it's supposed to. And once you hit 34 weeks pregnant, you are high, you have a high possibility of having preeclampsia. So they wanted to check me every 6 weeks just to make sure that the baby was growing the way it was supposed to, and if it wasn't, we had to deliver early. So every 6 weeks I would see Joseph. So at Josiah, I only have one ultrasound picture for him. For Joseph, I have like about 100. I literally have a box full of ultrasounds because I would see him all the time. Then came 34 week. Oh, and then I had something called like a venous lake on my placenta. So it was like a thing of blood. My 34 weeks something, when my doctor's like, okay, well, you're 34 weeks now, you have to go to the hospital 3 times a week so they can monitor the baby because of my inhibin hormone, and they just have to make sure that the baby was fine. So I would get they would monitor the baby twice a week, and then an ultrasound once a week. So every time I would go to these places, they would always scare the shit out of me. There was always something wrong with him. His bones were not measuring the way they were supposed to. My amniotic fluid was too low, and it was so dangerous. They were gonna like they were gonna planning on doing a cesarean section. My mom had 4 cesarean sections. She's a big old weenie when it comes down to pain. Like she was scaring the shit out of me, telling me that it was the worst pain ever and I don't know what, and this and that. So I was freaking scared. I didn't want a fucking C-section. So I every week that I would go there for my ultrasound, I'd be like, did he move? No. Did he move? No. 37 weeks came along. My doctor was like, baby hasn't moved. We can try to do the inversion, or you can schedule your C-section. And I was like, I do not want a C-section. Flip that baby now. So they made my appointment so I can flip Joseph. Operation Flipping Joseph was a failed. They went to the hospital. I went to the hospital. They injected me on my armpit with something to make my stomach super soft. You know how when you're pregnant, your stomach is hard? No, well, this, whatever they injected me with made my stomach super soft, my uterus. So the doctor can go in there, you know, and kind of like move the baby. Worst pain ever. A lot of people say it doesn't hurt them. I think I have a very, very high pain tolerance. That right there, my friends, was probably, it just hurts really, really, really bad. I had my mom and my sister with me. There was my doctor, nurses, surgeons. The room was full of people around me in case my water broke. They were just gonna rush me into emergency C-section. So the doctors there, you know, like the doctor's hand was shaking, like it would shake trying to flip Joseph, and I can feel him, you know, like messing with the baby. He did this two times, and then the third time I was like, don't, no more, like, don't schedule my C-section immediately. And I didn't tell him to schedule me right away, but he was really like, I just think you should at 39 weeks we should schedule your C-section. And I was like, no, let me have this baby. I'm gonna try to flip him by myself. So I would like put cold stuff on my stomach, I would bounce on a ball, I would walk, I would do everything to get Joseph fucking flip, and he never did. Never. So my last appointment, my doctor was like, lady, schedule your C-section. You're fine. Schedule your C-section because it is 4th of July weekend and there's not going to be a lot of people. Like, you need to schedule your C-section. And I was like, okay, fine. You know, like, schedule my C-section. I don't care, you know. It is the 3rd, like today. Say it was today. He calls me. He was like, we have your C-section appointment. It's going to be on the 10th. Give me my instructions and everything to go. And I was like, okay, you know. So I'm sitting on the couch, you know, I got my little pump and I was like, that pump looks kind of tempting, you know, like, let me try pumping my boobs to see what it feels like. So I get there and I'm pumping my boobs and to see if I have milk, and like some of it starts coming out. And I was all excited. I was like, oh my gosh, look, I got some milk coming out. Turns out that's a stimulant. And that can put you into labor like this. Hack. Want to go into labor fast? Do that. I go to sleep 2 a.m. I feel like I peed myself. And I'm like, then I peed myself and then my water break. So I went to go check, nothing. And I was like, I think I peed myself. Let me go back to sleep. So I went back to sleep and I can feel cramps in my stomach. And then I feel again like and I was like, there's no way I just peed myself again. Go to the restroom, wipe, and there's blood. And I was like, okay, we're having this baby, because that's the same thing that happened with Josiah. So I was like, okay, no, my water broke. We need to go now. And he was like, for reals? And I was like, yes, I'm bleeding. And I showed him and he like freaks out, starts jumping off the bed. And I'm like, I need to take a shower first. And I'm like jumping into the shower. And he's like, hurry up, you're going to have this baby in the house. And I'm like, we're having a C-section. Joseph is breached. Calm down. And he's like waking up everyone. Josiah, because we had to drop him off at my mom's, and he was like, you're just taking your sweet time. And I'm like, dude, help me put on my freaking underwear. Like, I can't even freaking bend down. And as I'm trying to put on my underwear, I'm like amniotic fluid everywhere. And he's like in the car, and I'm like walking, and as I'm walking, I feel my contractions getting so bad. And I'm like, wait, what the hell? This is not what I felt the first time, because remember I had back labor with Josiah. So I was like, maybe I should not have taken a shower and I should just gone straight to the freaking emergency room. And my contractions are literally coming like every like 2 minutes. So we're driving to my mom's house to drop off Josiah, and I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. I think we need to go to the hospital. And he was like, we're like rushing our ways, you know, like to the hospital. I'm in the elevator freaking amniotic fluid everywhere. And then I get there and I told them what was happening. They took me inside, checked me, and they were like, "Ma'am, you're 4 centimeters, you're 100% a phase. Put your baby is breaching. We need a C-section, and you need to hold on to that baby because you can't have him. You can't have them like that, you know." This is the palette that I'm gonna be doing my eyes, and I'm just gonna do something like super quick, okay? So I can finish telling you guys the story. So, because it's not over. As the guy's doing like the paperwork, I feel like he's taking his sweet ass time because Joseph is coming. He's not waiting for anyone. I am feeling something like on my crotch, like bone rubbing. Like I feel something in my crotch, you know, like my bones are rubbing. And he was like, "I need to check you." He's like, "Because since you are breech, I need to see what's going on." I don't know what the hell they're waiting on. So like he checks me and Joseph's freaking foot is coming out of me. Yeah. So he like literally is like foot's out, took the brake off the freaking bed and starts rolling me into not emergency, but like it had to like starts rolling me into the C-section. They're like, "We're bringing the wheelchair for her." They're like, "No time for the wheelchair. Foot is out." And he's like, "They're not." And the whole time that they're wheeling me, I'm crying. I'm like, because I was so scared. And they were like, "Congratulations." And I'm like, "Thank you." Crying the whole way to the operation room, and they did everything that they had to do. He was the first baby born July 4th, 2019. They had all kinds of goodies for me, like all kinds of like a little outfit, like a patriotic outfit, a blanket that someone did. I still have everything, by the way. If you guys want to see it, I'll like insert little clips here if I can. And then I am out of my C-section, you know, like just relaxing. People are visiting me. It was first visiting hours, which starts like about 8 o'clock or something like that. I'm not even sure. And as the nurse is in there talking to me because I'm still numb, she was like, I'm sensing that the nurse is like nervous and she's doing this to the chair. Like she's like shaking the chair. And I was like, "Oh, you know, like she's nervous, she's shaking the chair." But then she's like shaking the freaking chair. And I'm like, well, is she mad? And then like when I noticed that she was shaking it really hard, everyone around me was like noticing. And then they were like, "What the hell is that?" Do you guys remember the fucking earthquake? Okay. There was an earthquake, July 4th, 2019, 7.1 earthquake. I was in the 3rd floor of the hospital, numbed because I had just come out of my C-section. My whole family's there, little baby's there, and I'm like, there is no way in hell I am surviving this if this building collapsed because I can't move. My husband is not going to be able to carry this. Like, I'm dead weight. And I'm like freaking out. The nurse hovers over the baby and she's like, it's okay guys, this building is meant for earthquakes. And the freaking building is fucking shaking. And I'm not overdoing this. We're in the 3rd floor, so can you imagine? Like everything is shaking, like shaking. And I'm like, oh my God. I called, actually that first earthquake, my husband was in there. I called my husband to make sure if they were fine, you know, because it was so bad. And he had gone to the house with the two other kids, Josiah and Alize. So I called them and they weren't answering. And I was like, the freaking house collapsed on them. And I'm like freaking out, you know? And my son, someone answers me. And then my husband's like, what earthquake? I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, how the hell did you not feel that shit? Like the whole freaking room everything was like, and he's like, no, I didn't feel it. And my son's like, I felt it. I told Jose. And he was like, I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, okay, everything's fine, I guess. And then comes the nighttime when the bigger earthquake hits. And the nurse is there talking to me. As again, my mom's there too. She had dropped off dinner for us. And she's there. She's sitting there. Jose's here. Nurse, baby, myself. At this point, I'm like coming back. Like I'm still numb. But like I'm still numb. She's talking to me as the whole room starts boom, boom. And we kind of looked at each other and it's like boom, 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 the big earthquake. And then the nurse freaking freaks out and she hovers over the baby again. She's crying, like literally crying. I am like looking at my husband. My mom's praying. She's like, Señor, Señor, aquí estamos, Señor, por favor. Like, literally, like, total Mexican mom. And I'm looking at her, I'm looking at my husband, and I'm like, where the fuck is my phone? Because I need to call my other child, you know? The earthquake would not stop. As soon as you thought it was going to stop, it was like, like, fast. This kid came with a bang. Came into my vagina with a bang, and then came out my stomach with a bang. That's the end of Joseph's pregnancy journey, the earthquakes. They put us in the room that was like the closest to the high school that does the fireworks. That as like my baby is like newly, you know, born on my chest or breastfeeding or whatever I was doing, the fireworks were like popping on the thing, and it was like so special, you know. Like my husband and I were just like, this is our 4th of July, and he's like, yeah, this is our 4th of July. Not to mention that 5 months after Joseph was born, we hit the pandemic. Not to mention, I was a stay-at-home mom, bored off my ass with a newborn baby with nothing to do, so I started making videos for you guys. And that's how you guys met me. You have plans, but God has something better for you. Anyways, I just did a little bit of lip glossy, and then I'm just gonna do some highlighter. House queen. Now we just gotta put on our earrings, because you already know the bigger the hoop, the bigger the hole in your ear. This is just like a let's go to the grocery store makeup look, you know, because I'm not even gonna do my hair. I'm just gonna put on some shorts and that's it. This is what we look like today, guys. When I hit 100K followers, I know you guys like cheese man. Like, I already know. Like, we know we like the cheese man, okay? You don't gotta lie. I know you guys are like really intrigued with my previous spitting everywhere. With my previous story time, and you guys wanted to know more about baby daddy, who I hit 100K subscribers. I will tell you guys the full story of the day he tried to unalive me. So tell your mama, your daddies, your aunties, everyone to subscribe to my channel so I can tell you guys that story. Bye guys. Bye.